Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody is well. It's about 1 o'clock, end of the day market on December 8th. Hope everybody is well. Um, I just want to just quickly first, let's talk about where the market is and where it ended up. Starting with the NASDAQ. NASDAQ was up about 66 points, 0.4%. It's going to end, the market is going to end. I think it's already ended, if I'm not mistaken, but this is just a post-market summary. So let's look at the week. For the week, the NASDAQ did pretty well. This was a good move, a green candle move on the week. A little bit of a movement onto the down channel, but behaved very, 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 very well. Look at the 5 days that went by, down a little bit on Monday, then Tuesday was flat, up again on Wednesday, then down again, and then 2 days of moves up Thursday and Friday, both moving up. Back trying to test the 14,370, 400 range. So this is a very good move by the NASDAQ. Did very, very well. S&P 500 for the day was up. Also, actually, all three indices was up. S&P 500 up about 0.4%. Also, still moving very tight within the channel. Look at the 5 days here. It moved up. So this is actually, if you look at this particular channel, it's actually going up in the medium term. I like that move as well. And finally, the Dow Jones Industrial Average for the week was up, but also for the day was up about 130 points, 0.3%, very strong index. So of the three, again, as I mentioned, it's probably one of the stronger index. This looks like a bull flag, or not a bull planet, sorry, just a flag that's up, flat, and here is the pole. So that's a flag. That means it is heading up back again. As I mentioned last week, towards the 36 296 300 range, 36 200 range. One of the stocks that showed up that I've been confident about for quite a bit of time is Broadcom. AVGO is the ticker symbol, AVGO. Let's go through our 5-step process and see what we find. I've talked about Broadcom before, so it's not like I never talked about it. It's actually a very interesting stock for me to be able to consider overall. So let's go through our 5-step process, see what we like, see what we don't like. All right. Start always with the fundamentals. I always start with looking at whether I like the company's direction, both from a financial standpoint and from a direction standpoint. Then I go into the technicals. As you know, my strategy, for those of you that have been following me new, that's what I approach. That's the way I approach it. Okay, 2017, the company was doing about 17 billion, growing in the teens after 30% growth going in the teens. Now, 7 years later, 35. So it's double the revenue, 100% growth in 8 years. That's not bad at all. For a company with this size, that's very good. But remember, Broadcom is a company that acquires a lot of companies. So the bottom line is very strong. Their net margin, their gross margins are probably the 70%. Net margins are on the solid 30%. Oh my goodness, this is a very strong cash generating company. So the way they go, and they just completed the acquisition of VMware. So the way they go about it is they buy a company that is probably flattening in revenue, take out a lot of the costs by cutting a lot of people, then move it up into the right. This is a good move. So 17 to 35 billion, doubled it, good margins. Let's go to the quarterly. So it used to be in the 20% range. Growth was 2020, was 2022, was 20% range, and now has gone to single digits. So this is not a good sign overall. So I like the annual growth, but growth is definitely slowing dramatically, which is not bad as long as they throw out a lot of cash, which is what they're doing. Their growth in income is also pretty much flattening out. So, okay, I like the revenue. I like the long-term growth. So this is not growing as fast in the quarterly basis. Good, strong margins, good, strong, healthy bottom line. Let's go now to the balance sheet. They have about 72 billion in total assets. This is a company that has a ton of non-current assets. They have a bunch in goodwill. Just an absolute long-term intangible assets. Look at that. They've got like 40 billion in goodwill. What is goodwill? I get this question sometimes asked to me. Let's say you acquire a company, Broadcom acquired VMware, and the company's value really, if you look at it from the standpoint of the assets, plant, materials, cash, is about 20 billion, but they pay 40 billion because that's what the value of the company is. The 20 billion that they paid extra is goodwill, and that just goes on the balance sheet. You can't really go to get that cash in the 20 billion, but if you sell it to somebody else, hopefully it gets out to be much higher. Total debt is about 30 billion. This is a little bit high. So there's, as long as they're able to manage the debt and service the debt. So they they follow a PE playbook for most parts. Buy a company out, cut a lot of people, put a lot of debt, and then grow cash flows and grow net income. As long as they have the cash flow to be able to back it up. Yeah, they do have the cash flow to back it up. They're getting nearly on an annualized basis, $16-17 billion in free cash flow that they can use to service the debt. And let's just look at the debt. If it is growing on an annualized basis, it seems to have, slowed down and moving in the right direction, which is lower, which is good. Okay, valuations wise, for a single digit growth, 4%, 5% over the last few quarters, their valuation of 28 is not bad. It's not terrific. It's not bad at all. This is actually decent valuation. 10 times price to sales, given their 60% gross margins, 70%, 65% gross margins, very, very good. I like that. If you look at someone like Microsoft, just to give you a context, is 68% gross margins, 40% net margins, and just look at Microsoft. Look at their valuations. So very similar in terms of profile. Obviously, Microsoft's also growing in the single digits. Look at this. This is 12 times as opposed to 10 times for Broadcom and 35. So Broadcom is very much within the range overall. I like where Broadcom's valuation is relative to Microsoft, relative to any other software company that has revenues growing at a single digit. But obviously, Broadcom is much smaller than Microsoft is. Okay, we start on a monthly basis. Very strong bottom. This was when it was Broadcom. Broadcom is an old company. They actually were a semiconductor company. They still get a lot of money from semiconductor. Good, strong base being built. Very strong stage 2 accumulation. So this is stage 1 accumulation, markup. Stage 1 accumulation, again, markup. Stage 3 distribution, markdown. Mark up. Again, another markup. So long term, where is this trend headed? This is up. So let's look at the first channel that we draw. This is the first channel, long-term channel on the monthly channel that I would draw. A little bit big. You can adjust it a little bit later on the monthly basis. The monthly basis is going up. The space seems to have slowed down, but still going up. I like that move. All right, let's go then next to the, why am I not getting the RSI? I'm surprised. Let's just make sure that my RSI indicator should be here. I wonder why it's not showing up. And relative strength index. Okay, got it on. Why am I putting it twice? I'm going to remove it once. Okay, MACD and RSI both are in. Okay, good. On the weekly channel, okay, this on the weekly channel is again hitting a very good high range. So you can get a very good resistance drawn for it here in the 994,000 mark. And a support for it, multiple touches in the 791 mark. We can adjust it a little bit later. But all of the moving averages pointing in the right direction, not as steep as I would like, but still on the weekly, this is not bad. MACD in the weekly, this is not a good sign, but still diverging. This is a very good sign on the MACD for the monthly, but you want to be able to see it go up as much as possible for you to be able to be in the direction where you want to be able to buy it. So it's made a good set of moves. I like the stock on a weekly. There's no big hassles for it. Okay, so this was the multiple top. If you look at it, just to be able to show you what that looks like, the stock topped itself out multiple times, broke through that pattern. So look at this: 1 touch, 2 touches, 3 touches, 4 touches, and this was in the 874 range. So this is probably a very good support for the stock. So the moving average moving down. The 20-day moving average moving down, not a good sign, but this is a good sign. The fact that it's going to move up back again, given that it had a very strong candle today, up about 2.4%. So this moving average, I'd say the 20-day moving average is going to start curling up back again. The other two are flat. All the other moving averages are mostly flat. So this is not a stock that is going to rip out, but at the same time, 990, 1,000. Where it was 950 was the 999, almost $1,000 is the 52-week high, which was hit roughly about 21st of November, less than a month ago, 20th of November. So I think it's probably going to head back again in this range to the $1,000 mark. That's about a $60 move from here, 5% move. Not terrific, but still not a bad stock to own. In the long term, just look at it. This has formed a very nice consolidation. Let's look at it from the all-time chart, right? Makes it a little bit more clear to you. This is consolidation zone. Just to show you, it has done a very good job of just consolidating itself very, very well over here, and now moving out of that channel. So it did a lot of moving back and forth and left and right, consolidated itself very, very well. Let's adjust this down to this area. So done a lot. So what would I do? What is the best thing to be able to do? 920 seems to be a good entry. 944 is where it's at. That would have been, yeah, actually, which is a good entry point. So 902, look at this, multiple touches. This has probably become the next support for it. If I had to extend it out, it's probably in this range, right? So anywhere between 915 and 900 and 900. 920, 900 is a good entry point for, again, it's probably going to do another touch to it and then expect it to move all the way up to 1,000. So that would be somewhere in the 20-day moving average, moving a little bit more down. It's almost touching, it's actually on the daily chart. It's actually at the 100-day moving average, a little bit higher. 100-day moving average is 900. So I'd wait for the 100-day moving average. Sorry, 50-day moving average. I apologize. 50-day moving average is in the 874, 902 range. Wait for it. That's your stop loss. Buy it in the 920. Stop loss is 900. Expect it to move up all the way to 1,000 again, which is where this yellow line is. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For the long term, I still like the stock. This is a very good stock. It's a steady, consistent performer that you can hold and not have to worry too much. Recent earnings were very strong as well. The earnings was day before, or yesterday actually, Thursday, they reported 11 billion in revenue. So a little bit of a surprise, almost about $100 million surprise on the upside. I'm sorry, $11 a share was the EPS, and then 9 billion was what they reported, almost an $18 million upside. Good earnings, good move after earnings. I like Broadcom, and I continue to be able to, as I mentioned, buy it in the 920, 900 zone. The stop loss zone is 905, 874. Expected to move to 1,000 again. Thank you for watching. Appreciate all of you guys. Comment, let me know what you think.